false prophet rose up from the seed of man. God will judge man. God's judgment is going to be brought down on this. God is going to have the last word, and God is going to judge. It's the number of man. It's not a number of kingdom. It's not a number of religion. It's not a dispensation. It is a man. The number 666. And so here is wisdom. Who is the wisdom? The wisdom of God. Let him who hath an understanding count the number of the beast. The idea that it's a number of man and not the number of God. The wisdom is, this is not of God. This is of man. Even though there'll be a great following for religious reason. All right, that kind of brings us to the conclusion of chapter number 13. Does anyone have anything they want to say?
Well, the Jews, when they would go 18 inches, and that's 2 times 6, 18.
Yeah.
And I've been reading this years ago that the mark had thrown the bar at that part of the feet. They say that it's also symbolizing the mark at Christ. It's from his part. So the devil is trying to symbolize the same thing for God to pull the people away from Christ.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything he has a counterfeit for. That number, that number is, the name of the beast, the number of his name. Man.
So the God at in his forehead, like in our forehead, Jesus Christ on it.
His name.
And the devil
His name.
counterfeit that.
Sure it does. It's going to die.
I guess I've always thought when you read that it says to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. And I've always thought that, and it's just my mind's eye, I would think if somebody had a mark on their hand, you could see, don't necessarily think that.
Right.
It's going to be under the skin or something. You know what I mean? Because it says in, it doesn't say on, it says in, and that just always, and it's funny, you see now there's little chips in dogs so they don't lose them, or in children so that they, don't find them missing. And I think it's just going to be just something, this is a good thing, let's do this kind of thing. And that's how it's always been. Things come so slowly that, humanity or the world we live in makes it seem like, that makes sense. That sounds like that's something we should be doing. And I think, it's going to be those that have grounded themselves in the Word of God, they're going to know, hey, that's not something I want to be doing. Without that grounding and knowing the Word of God, those folks are, whether they make that choice to worship or not, they're going to take it because they don't know. Out of ignorance, not understanding. Just think ignorance is way of being, just a little bit at a time. Make it sound like it should be that way.
Well, that's good. You can do this because on your job, we can all think from a religious level because we're Christians, so we can understand that religious, and I all think from an economic level because of our jobs or whatever we do. So you look at it from a banking standpoint, and you think, wow, then it's secure. If no one can rob that, no one can steal, can't take our MAC card, So from a banking aspect, buying, selling, trading, you just load everything on there. No one can take that from you. From a health aspect, one of the greatest things that they're trying to do right now is trying to get it that, Brother Craig, you go to the hospital, all your medical information is in there. You have a reaction to a medicine, it's logged in there, wherever you've been. Even if you're abusing medicine, it's tracked. And so one of the greatest things I want to do right now is, create a computer system that if you're here, if you're in California, your medical records can be accessed. So we look at that and we think, wow, that can be good. And that can be good. I understand that there can be good things from that. But once again, it's as Sister Tina said, the Antichrist and what the Antichrist is doing, when we see the prophet, I compared him to the Holy Ghost, the wind of God blowing through and purifying and cleansing. But also think about wind. Wind can also bring a lot of destruction. A lot of destruction. My sister had a swimming pool in her backyard, one of those 4 ones, it's a pretty big one. And they get bad wind out there. Man, the wind was so bad, it picked her pool up and just ripped it apart and blew it. Destruction. That's going to be the false prophet. What the Spirit of God does for us in the wind, the false prophet can be the wind, but it's going to be destructive. And I think that's interesting to think about. And I read that from one of the commentators. I thought that was good. Someone else.
They won't steal your Mac card, they just cut your hand off.
Yeah. Well, you never know. You're right. So it's better to get your forehead.
Oh, you want your head cut off.
I guess you can live without a hand, be careful without a head, right?
Think of the confusion that might be going on at this time, because, I don't know, with everybody, they're going to be under the control of the false prophet, though, because if you think about it, everything's going to be working together. Right now, I don't care what they say about the chip. It's throwing off a signal. If somebody wants it, they're going to get my information somehow, just by walking by whatever. I don't buy all that. But if it's really that bad, and these has them so much under control, no one's really going to be thinking about that, because they're going to be working on harmonizing in one community, that one world community where they're working towards each other, stabilizing each other. So they might not think of it as an aspect of, I'm going to hack into the system or anything. Plus, the power that the enemy's going to have at the time, who's to say he wouldn't make an open show of this is what happens when you take over a system. Kind of like Vladimir Dracula, right? The heroin when he sex spikes up. He's going to make a public show of it. So there might not be so much tampering with that chip as we have nowadays.
That's a good, but you did say something that was really good, because worldwide religion is what it is right here. It's a worldwide religion.
And when you look at, basically, we're looking at, I don't want to use the term reincarnation, but we are seeing a modern day Nimrod, the same spirit that pulled all those people together at Babel for the building of that tower, which was a religious symbol at the time. You're seeing the same thing on a much grander scale through the Antichrist himself. That harmony, that unification, that working together for one goal against the God of heaven.
Sure. Oh, absolutely, because he's blaspheming heaven, the saints in heaven, heaven itself. And as we talked about him being on a worldwide, and there's, already the stage is set for worldwide religion, worldwide lots of things. And technology is definitely going to play a part in it. There's no doubt about that. The stage is being set. I'm just glad that we as believers, we're not going to be here. Any way around it. Unless you believe most trip, we're not going to be here. It's interesting that the Lord does let us in to know what's happening in the end times zone.
No matter what faith we have, God still has everything under control.
Yes, sir. And even though, as I forget what verse, in verse number 7, whether it's given unto him to make a war against the saints and to overcome them, God's still in control. I think I had to read an article that I have a meeting on, and it's called Pneumoplasticity. and how it works, and I'm going to close with this, and how it works in being a chaplain. Now, unfortunately, as a chaplain, I can't do my role as a pastor. But what it, I'm not there to be to proselyte. You're there to journey with people through what they're going through, but to help them find God in their moments of just being given some very bad news and some of the most dark hours of their life, but helping them know that there is spiritual resources even embedded in them that they can find the help of God. I do believe that we need the Word of God, we need the Spirit of God. I do believe all that. And so mankind is looking for God. And it's not going to be any different in the end times. Man, they're looking for something. But for the real believer, even though it's maybe a dark hour, even for the ones that are trusting in God, God will see them through, even if it's death. And I know that's a huge thing. You know, we think about that. Maybe it won't be such a huge thing then. You know what I mean? Maybe you'll be ready, you know, with all the events and knowing the Word of God. But God will see you through no matter what you go through. And I think that's the greatest thing. That even for those who trust in God, God will see you through. As He will us. For me, I just have to pull some things out that become applicable for my life today. That's just the way I am with the Word of God. I need things that bring me application for today. I like knowing end time events, but how does it apply? How can I use this for today? Anybody else? Amen. Let's stand. So we looked tonight at the dragon. We did him last week and the Antichrist. We looked at several things, you know, looking at that deadly woman. We looked at the Roman Empire, looked like something that was dead. There's lots of things you can bring in, even Alexander the Great. There's just a lot of things that I've chosen not to bring in because I'll let you research and further study on that. But I'm getting the meat of it. And so you fill in the rest. Praise God. Oh, Doug, we close this in prayer.
Once again, thank you for the church. And just learning your word. Just thankful how we follow Lord God. Just pray, Lord, that you just open our eyes to receive it, Lord. And just use it, Lord. Just praise you and thank you for all you do in this church.
Oh, okay. You go in there.